Pat Dooley joins us now. He writes for WRUF and also has a fantastic podcast with a great name, another duly noted podcast. Pat, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I actually said I'm going to do this outside just to show people that we aren't blowing away. We're in this calm before the storm right now, and it's beautiful. We're thinking about going to play golf. So, and then this all hell's going to come.
Yeah, well, we had that happen, as I'm sure you know, in Northeast Tennessee. So our prayers and thoughts are with you guys. That's scary stuff.
Yeah, the worst part is that there's debris everywhere around. I mean, people have scraped it up and gotten it on those sidewalks, but they haven't been picked up yet. So all that debris is going to go flying through windows, and that's the scariest part of it right now, to be honest with you.
For those that don't know, is it a hurricane level yet that's supposed to hit?
Oh yeah, it got to be a 5 last night, and now I think it's back down to a 4. It's supposed to hit us as a 3, but it's supposed to hit Tampa. In fact, we have a whole family living with us this week because they had to get out of there. They had flooding during Helene, and they knew this was going to hit right at Tampa. Now it looks like it's gone a little south. We'll see how it all works out.
Gotcha, buddy. Well, we'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Obviously, secondary would be football, but it is a big week. Tennessee, Florida, both teams need a win. And I was curious if you could dive in to Florida's 2-quarterback system, how that's kind of come along with DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz, and how you see it developing into the future.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does this week. Now, he went with this because, again, Mertz got a concussion the first game. Lagway would have played in that game anyway, and then Lagway had the second game because Mertz was out, and then they kind of shared it in the third game. So now they've gone to the system of bringing Lagway in for the third series, which I don't like. I don't like that idea at all. I think that's what you do in preseason exhibition games, I think that you go with your quarterback. You have plays for your other quarterback that you can put him in and get his feet wet and everything, and have him do things. And you're going to keep him ready. It's almost like Billy Napier is coaching this season, like getting Lagway ready for next year, and assuming he is either one of them, they might both be gone. Who knows? Because, I mean, that's the way it works in these days. If Napier gets fired, Lagway's falling right out the door. So it's working. I mean, look, Mertz is a really good quarterback, but Mertz can't throw the deep ball. Lagway can throw the deep ball as well as anybody in the country, but he needs to learn. He still is making mistakes, in terms of terminology, in terms of checks, stuff like that. So he's got to get better, and he's going to learn from Graham Mertz, who Napier said yesterday has a PhD in quarterback. So that's a good thing, but how is it going to translate to wins? That's going to be the big question, because if it doesn't, then they're going to have to find another coach.
Before we get to some more X's and O's, for those that don't know, Florida opened the season losing to Miami, beat Samford, which they should, then lost to Texas A&M, which is a team on the rise. Now they've beaten Mississippi State and UCF in consecutive weeks, and I'm just wondering where the pulse of this team is after following the game against the Aggies. We saw Scott Strickland's got to be gone signs and all this stuff hanging out, and it seemed like they weren't going to make it till the end of September. What's the feel around Gainesville now?
It's still, I don't want to say it's split 50-50, but there are still two camps, There's a camp that wants Napier out, and they want Strickland out, and they want the interim president, who's only been interim president for a month, out. They want me out. They want you out. They want everybody to get fired. All those people in polo shirts got to go. So, and then there's the other half, or not. I don't want to say it's half. There's another group of people that says, "Hey, let's play this out. Let's see how it goes. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get the same result. You can't keep letting coaches go in 3 and 4 years." And then in the middle is the people go, "Hey, we just like going to games," So, I mean, it is pretty amazing. Florida, I think, has sold out 13 games for 3 losing seasons in the last 3 years. And that is, I get on the Gator fans all the time, right? but they've shown themselves post-COVID. They did get a COVID bump, I think. I think a lot of people realize how great it was to go to games again. But I do believe that they have shown up and they have said, "Hey, we're gonna support this thing no matter what, and you guys need to start winning." Now could it get ugly later in the year? We'll see, but it's pretty impressive to put 90-something thousand in there for UCF.
Agreed.
Pat, I'm noticing a bit of a difference in the vibe of what you said with using two quarterbacks. And does this show the lack of faith that you, Florida media, Florida fans, and everybody involved with Florida have in Billy Napier? Because one of the finest moments of Steve Spurrier's career was when he didn't just rotate quarterbacks every drive, he rotated them every play and went to beat Florida State in 1997. Now he did the same thing at Tennessee the next year and lost. However, no one held him accountable for that. Does that show the lack of faith that there is in Billy Napier, that you just don't believe he's as equipped to manage two quarterbacks the way Spurrier was?
Well, nobody is. I mean, Spurrier's a different animal. But, I mean, the funny thing is he did the two quarterback system again against FSU and lost too. And he ran it against Penn State in a bowl game and won. So he's 2-2 with the double quarterbacks every other play. And that was a bizarre situation. We'd heard the rumor about it before. But, yeah, now I will say this. The hero of that game was Fred Taylor because he ran the ball so well. And I don't think rotating quarterbacks is a good idea for at this time of the year. At this point in the season, certainly at this point in his career. I think he's got to just settle on Mertz, have some gimmick plays ready for Lagway, and then it's almost like, remember when Herschel broke his wrist and he was in a cast and they're playing Clemson to open the game, and all of a sudden he comes in the game in the third quarter, everybody's freaking out, and they fake it to him and give it to the wide receiver on a wide receiver screen and runs for a touchdown. He wasn't going to catch the ball. His wrist was broken. But you had to follow him, And so I think, like, if Lagway lines up and goes in motion and you're like, what are they doing here? It can play with that's the kind of thing I'd like to see, rather than just, let's give him a series here. Let's give him a series here. I mean, I think all the experimentation should be over with. You know what you have, go win the football game. And it's not going to be easy, but that's what they've got to do.
Florida always has skilled position players. For those that haven't seen the Gators, who are the ones that they need to be aware of?
Well, they've got surprising large amount of them, but they don't have big numbers. Shamiri Dike is a really good receiver. Elijah Badger, a good receiver. They both got him in the portal. Aiden Mizell, you just don't know what you're getting every week. And then, of course, Montrell Johnson, who has been here for 3 years and has really run hard, run well. He's played well. And they've got a deep running back room because Jaden Baugh's been really good, even picking up blitzes for a freshman. Trayon Webb's been really good. Jacoby Johnson's been really good. So they've got plenty of running backs. They got plenty of quarterbacks, and they got plenty of receivers. Now, can they stop anybody? That's going to be the question. And, of course, what happened Saturday, you go, hey, look, our defense has finally figured it out. No. Yeah, I don't think that's the case at all. I think UCF had two guys. They had a running back and they had a quarterback that could run the ball, and that was pretty much their offense, and Florida stuffed it, and that was it.
So,
moving to defense, Caleb, go right ahead.
Yeah, Pat, I wanted to turn to the defense because that's obviously been a big concern for Florida all year. Now, last week, Florida did hold UCF to 13 points. However, UCF seems to have way more problems with Gus Malzahn than we thought evident at the beginning of the year. So where do you think this Florida defense stands right now? Do you think they have truly turned a corner, or do you think UCF was just that bad?
I don't think they've turned a corner. I think they're about to find out that the corner is way down there, and it's a long way for them to get to, because now they're going to play up against all these really good offenses. I know that they struggled last week. Tennessee struggled last week. But then you go from there and you got to play Georgia and you got to play LSU and you got to play Kentucky. They don't have a good offense, but so maybe the defense will look even better, over the next couple of weeks. Cause I'm not sure about Tennessee right now. I thought Tennessee was I call them X factor teams, where I can't tell you what I think they're going to do, cause I have no idea. And when they started fast, and I looked at who they were playing, I go, okay, NC State. I was very impressed. NC State's turned out to be a bust.
Yep.
This year. Obviously, the win over Oklahoma. Don't forget, Oklahoma's only got one loss, so that was a good win. And then to lose to Arkansas and save Sam Pittman's job, that was nice of them to do that.
Yeah.
But that was not. I mean, that offensive performance was certainly not excellent.
No, agreed. Tyreek Sachs has been graded as a 33rd best edge defender in FBS, like an 82.9 Pro Football Focus grade. He had 2.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries, which I believe Sachs is tied for the lead. How good is he as an edge guy? Because you've seen, going back to Javon Curse and perhaps even before, you've seen some of the best.
Yeah, Alex Brown. And even guys like Ja'Kai Polite, a very good player. John Grenard still in the NFL. So there have been some good edge players, and they really haven't had that for a while. Brenton Cox was a disaster here. He was a cancer in the locker room, and there's a reason why Georgia kicked him off the team. He's got a chance to be good. He's still pretty young. Tyreek is learning and he played both inside and outside last year. So the development outside took a little hit because he was having to play inside. You know how different that is. And the development inside took a hit because he was, trying to play some outside, and you have to get speed. So anyway, I think he's got a chance to be a pretty good player. They got to be better on the front four and even the front seven this year if they're going to be any good, because the secondary I think is okay. They've gotten better. They got to get Asa Turner back, who's been out with an injury from Washington, the transfer from Washington. I don't think he'll be back this week, but they need to get him back. He was supposed to be the leader of that defense and has not played since the first game. And then, Jason Marshall is playing like we thought Jason Marshall might eventually one day play, which apparently that day is today. But if they can play good enough in the front seven, that secondary just gets better. And if they can create turnovers, which they've not been able to do for 4 or 5 years, that gives you more balls on the right side of the field, and you score more points. All of a sudden goes, hey, they're scoring 45 points a game. Yeah, they intercepted 2 passes and ran them back. And that's what Florida has not had. They had 3 interceptions all of last year. 3. I could have gotten that many just standing in the middle of the field.
Let me throw a double question at you. Poor journalism on my part, Pat. But how multiple is Florida's defensive front? Because that was a factor in the Arkansas game, according to many of Tennessee's players, especially pre-snap movement was an issue as Arkansas shifted. And then how much does Florida run that 3 down front that gave Tennessee some problems against the Razorbacks and the Sooners?
Yeah, they don't run it a ton, the 3 down front, but they do run it some. And that's the thing that I'm sure they'll look at the film and probably run more of it. I don't know. The question would be, are you better set at defensive line or linebacker? Because if you don't have enough linebackers and you're playing a 3-man front, you can be in trouble. Now, I think, didn't they run a 3-3 or 3-2-6 Arkansas on with 6?
Yeah, they kind of based out of a 3-3-5, and they did go what I would consider dime as well.
Yeah,
so that'd be a 3-3-6.
So I'm sure that Florida's going to look at that, and they have that in their arsenal, and they practice it. So they may use it, or they may just go, hey, look, we're just going to send the house and try to get this young quarterback ruffled, but they haven't done a lot of that either. They haven't really, they got 5 sacks last week, which was great. And KJ Jefferson can be immobile sometimes, even though he's known for his running. It's only straight ahead running he's known for. He's not nifty with his feet. But to get 5 sacks was important because that gave him 13 for the year, and that's not bad. So it'll be interesting to see, that whether they run a lot of that 3-man front. But I'm sure that I don't think their practice schedule is going to get disrupted at all. So I'm sure they got plenty of time to work on it.
All right, buddy. Be safe down there with that level 5 hurricane coming. I'm glad you're inland, sir, and best to you, brother.
Well, hang in there too, and I know you guys have all been through this with the lean and that other storm that went through. So, hey, Mother Nature undefeated still.
Yeah. Do you want to hang out with us and we'll kick around global warming? That should make us a lot of enemies.
About that, yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
We're talking about global warming and the border crisis.
Yes, that's great. And who are you voting for? All right, he's Pat Dooley. Check out his stuff on WRUF. He is on our Twitter feed. You can follow him. Pat, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. You know that, guys. See you, Caleb.
Have a good one, Pat.
Pat Dooley is fantastic there, and we really appreciate that look inside what Tennessee might face against Florida.